of Jews because they had the longest period to live.
1943. Eichmann sends his deputy Theodor Dannecker to Sofia to arrange a secret agreement with Alexander Belov to carry out the final solution in Bulgaria.
Geheime Übereinstimmung. Secret agreement for the deportation of the first 20,000 Jews into the German eastern regions. 20,000 Jews will be prepared for deportation without regard to age and sex. Expenses for the transport from the departure station to the destination will be covered by Bulgaria. The Bulgarian State Railway and the German State Railway will agree on the schedule of the trains as well as the means of transport. In no case will the Bulgarian government ask for the return of the deported Jews.
The Belov-Dannecker agreement specifies that 20 Bulgarian trains, each carrying 1,000 Jews, would leave from 6 precise locations: 3 in the Kingdom of Bulgaria and 3 in the occupied territories. The cabinet promptly ratifies the details arranged by Belov and Dannecker, issuing 3 warrants authorizing the transports to Treblinka and rejecting any hope that the victims could ever return to their native land. At the highest level of government, Bulgaria is involved in genocide. Alexander Belov arranges the details for each step of the path to the killing center at Treblinka. He supervises the brutal arrests and the grim detention centers. He even recites the lies to Jews about where they were headed and what to bring for the journey. And he is there to make sure the Jews got on the boxcars and the boats that took them to their death. According to the German ambassador to Bulgaria, German and Bulgarian soldiers took the passengers off the Carrick Georgia, massacred these civilians, and sunk the boat. One Jew from Bitola escapes from the ghetto just before the roundup. She becomes a leader in the resistance and the historian of the lost Jews of Macedonia.
E toda a gente, aquele dia como que supieram que alguma coisa vai acontecer, nenhuma luz não se matava. Todas as luzes da malé inteira judia estavam abertas. Ninguém não se echou. Quem se echava vestidos. Ninguém não se desnudava para echar a cama. E havia tremor grande a la caleja. Eu ia sair, 7 da hora em casa, 8 da hora, os bulgares com a armada arrodearam a cidade, que não pode sair nenhum. Os agentes começaram a bater as portas e a los levantar. Em 10 pontos deviam de se vestir, de tomar luz. E a todos lhes diziam, tomando parras, joias, tudo que vai ter de ministério, os vamos a levar à Bulgaria. Vamos aí, os esperam casas, todo o lavoro, aí vai ter. Alguns criaram, alguns não criaram, mas ninguém não sabiam por os campos. Os campos era coisa que não sabíamos. Maldições, arrogares, algum dizia chamar Israel, algum estava arrogando a los aqueles. E sentindo os búlgaros, lhes dizia, presto, 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 presto caminhando, presto, presto. A los razinos los metieron a las arabas com cavalos, los assumiram. Nenhum razino não deixaram. Mesmo no hospital, houve umas quantas mulheres que estavam parindo, las levantaram, las meteram aqui. Desse modo, ao monopólio, 4 mulheres pariram criaturas aí, você pode imaginar.
Belov seized tobacco warehouses to serve as detention centers. A woman from Bitola is released because she's a doctor. She describes graphically what it was like inside those dark and smelly places.
March 13th. We arrived in Skopje around midnight and were locked up in the building of the tobacco monopoly. There were over 500 of us in one room. They locked us up in the boxcars the day before, and now the whole day in the building without toilets. People were compelled to relieve themselves in the corners. The air soon became unbearable. Whenever one of us would peek through the window, a police officer would fire his pistol into the air. They finally let us use the toilets. They let us out of the room for a half hour. More than half the people were unable to relieve themselves or get water. March 14th. Each day they let us out only once, section by section. It is such a short time that many of the weak, ill, and disabled could not get down the stairs. March 18th. Everyone was hungry. The camp authorities set up a kitchen, but there were not enough stoves for 7,000 people. They started giving out food at 11 in the morning, and the last ones were fed around 5 in the evening. Food was distributed once a day and consisted of a slice of bread and plain, watery beans or rice. They also gave us smoked meat, but it was so bad that even though we were all hungry, we couldn't eat it. March 20th. Under the pretext of searching us to find hidden money, gold, or foreign currency, they sadistically forced us to undress entirely. In some cases, they even took away baby diapers. If they found anything on somebody, they beat him.
A Jew from Kavala survives because he was working in one of Bulgaria's slave labor camps. He becomes an eyewitness to the deportation of his own family, and the historian of the lost Jews of Thrace.
Subito su una de mañana sta passando un treno. Ma estamos sentindo mulheres, homens gritando. Alberto, Isaac. Passou o trem. Não podemos entender nada que está passando. Ai, verdade, al outro dia de manhã, arretou o trem. Estamos vendo, eu vejo a mamá, a mis hermanos. La familia entera, el Papa estuvo a la Grecia, fue ido prisionero, yo en Bulgaria, estos todos la mamá con 5 hermanos. ¿De qué? ¿Por qué? ¿Qué hizo este moricos? ¿Qué hizo Meir? Yo puedo 6 pecados de 22 años. ¿Estos de qué?
Addio, addio querida, no quiero la vida, me la amarraste tú.
Los sitios todos de la Macedonia y de la Macedonia yugoslava se perdieron. Uno no atornó. Escapando esto, estoy preocupando.
Cimino preserves the memory of each member of his family and of the entire Jewish community of Kavala.
De los sitios, cada uno. Esto cual ninguno no le quiere hacer. Esto todo tienen aquí a las gentes que se perdieron. Donde tenía fotos, se metieron aquí. Aquí no había foto, aquí había foto, aquí había foto. Todos están aquí adentro. ¿Estás entendiendo? Mira, mira, mira. De estos todos las fotos. Mi hermano. Mi hermano, todos están aquí. 1187 de estos papeles. Ahí, si destruyó Israel, se va a destruir esto. Yo tengo letra de Yad Vashem, del director. Envía lo que tienes. Aquí se va a guardar.
Cimino indicts the killers of his people.
Ven aquí, tú. Bulgar, ven aquí. ¿Con qué derecho tú viniste a la Macedonia, Grega, Yugoslavia y refugiaste a estos 12.000 judíos y los llevaste al crematorio? Venitis matatis enviatis alla muerte 13.600 giudiosos. Ven aquí. Ven aquí. ¿Qué hiciste? Esto no se paga. Ni $1 la persona, ni $1 billón por persona. Si te da $1 billón, permetes a la hija, yo permito a la hija que le lleven al crematorio? Jamais de la vida. Nunca. A decir, fíjate, aquí había tantos judíos, ¿qué se hicieron? Ven aquí a rebulgar tuyo. ¿De qué los tomates? ¿Qué les hiciste? Como que cayó una mosca, lo metí aquí, la pagué, la maté. Esto es la democracia, esto es la humanidad.
In Berlin, the Gestapo coordinates grand theft of Jewish property to pay for the mass murder of Europe's Jews. In Sofia, Bulgaria follows the same practice. The genocide is financed by its victims.
Y la destruyeron, robaron todos los detalles que eran preciosos de la Keilah, estuvieron tomados. Las otras Keilahs, unas se desfizieron, una Keilah la hicieron panadero, una Keilah la hicieron para hacer cosas de salchichas, keftés y escuela, cosas así. Así que a Manastir no hay ni una Keilah.
When you deport all the people of a town, what you leave is absent. What you leave is empty. And you have the presence of absence and the absence of presence. You had houses of learning, you had synagogues and cemeteries, and you had all the elements of a living, thriving Jewish community that was present one day and absent the next.
Bulgaria provides the soldiers to round up the Jews and the trains to transport them to their death. Germany supplies the soldiers to guard the trains and file the paperwork.
Arbeitsbericht, 12. April 1943. Work report, April 12, 1943. Subject: escorting the Jewish transports. SS Hauptsturmführer Dannecker telephoned an order for the train to leave Skopje. On March 29th at 6 a.m., the loading of 2,404 Jews onto boxcars commenced at the former tobacco